So episode 5 of Daima is here, and I just gotta say, this was a fun episode. It really was a fun episode. Nothing too crazy went down in this, but we definitely got plenty of time to enjoy a quick action scene. In terms of lore, nothing crazy with lore. So we're into the moment of the series of, hey, we're gonna have some of these episodes where they're just gonna be fun. And again, like I've been saying for the past couple weeks, if you're a fan of the classic Dragon Ball, this show is really going to feel like that. At least it does to me. Some episodes are going to have really important stuff. Some episodes are just going to be more fighting. But every episode is going to feel like a fun adventure. And that's the thing. When I talk to my friends about this, this is how we feel when we listen to the intro of Jakajan. It reminds us of genuinely the adventure that Dragon Ball started with. Dragon Ball started as a fun, mystical adventure. I mean, Makafushigi Adventure is literally that. It's a mystical adventure, so the opening reminds me of that. So watching this episode, that's what it felt like. And so before we get into the things that happened in this episode, again, not a lot of anything crazy or even anything in lore, just a couple characters, couple of moments for later on for storytelling breaks. Just remember, each of these breakdowns are going to have a little bit of spoilers, so if you do not want to be spoiled on anything, whether it be names, places, incidences, whatever, please go watch the episode first, then come back to my video and watch it all the way through, and then let me know in the comments below what you think, how I did I miss something, do you want me to talk about something, did I misconstrue something? Please let me know in the comments below. But with that said, that was your warning. I only say a little bit of spoiler because I try not to do too much of the spoiling, and I'm sorry if the thumbnail spoils y'all. I gotta get y'all hooked somehow. But with that said, let's go and start talking about the episode. So right in the beginning of the episode, we are 100% introduced to the character of Ponzi. She says who she is. She's like, my name's Ponzi. What are you guys doing? And at that point, they're like, yeah, let's get on out here. We gotta go to the castle. And she's like, oh, you're going to King Kadan's castle? I'm coming with you. And of course, Glorio doesn't like that, but it is what it is. And she follows with him the whole way through. Along the way, she's talking to Shin, and she points out, like, it's kind of weird to see a Glend. Like I said in last week's episode, that's what the Supreme Kais, or the Kais, are called in the demon world. They're called Glens. She said, well, it's kind of crazy to see a Glend here. Pretty much all of them left a long time ago, and besides Degasu, Goma's right-hand man, you're like the only other one I've ever seen. I mean, maybe she probably hasn't seen Dr. Anarisu that we saw in the first episode, but pretty much she's just saying, like, hey, it's kind of weird to see not just a Glend, but also like a Glend child. Like, wow, okay, I see some of you are still hanging around. Okay, that's cool. But as they were moving along about that, they brought up that how they're really rebelling back against Goma, because even though Deborah was apparently a pretty harsh king, I know I pointed out like episode 3 with the statue that they apparently liked Deborah, and apparently again Deborah wasn't all that bad. Pans even points out, like, hey, Deborah wasn't all that bad. Even though he was rough, he's nowhere near as bad as Goma. Goma is a truly irrehensible type of character that we've got to knock out. We can't let him keep ruling. And they steal life. Goma is pushing for his army to keep stealing life of anyone that can't pay, and that was what we saw last week's episode of them stealing life. A single gold coin that they have to pay. If they don't pay it, basically costs them 9 years. I don't know why they didn't just make it an even 10, but okay, let's go with that. 9 years. No, they knock off basically a full decade from people's life if they don't pay. And that's crazy to think that that's how they do this. Because when they, right at the beginning, right at the episode, sorry, they pointed that out when when that small militia was like, track down that kid, where's that collar? And they're like, well, we don't even see if he had a collar. So pretty much like everyone who is considered low tier on this category have these collars that they can track. So it's a messed up system they got to track people. But when Pansy was telling about that, she was saying, like, the average demon lifespan now is only 1,000 years, and Goku's like, really? 1,000 years? Don't you think that's already enough as it is? And Panji's like, what do you mean? Like, no, that's short for a demon's lifespan. And apparently Panji is 82 years old. So probably still very much considered a child. In fact, when we meet her father later on in the series, because we do get introduced to her father, he even said, they have a conversation. And so Panji's clearly a child in terms of the demon, even though she's older than Goku and older pretty much than any real human, to be honest. she's still a child. So in terms of that maturity of demons, it's probably one of those things of like they're children until probably like 200, then maybe teens, and then et cetera, all the way through. So yeah, Ponzi's 82, but she's still technically a child in the world of the demon realms. And when the crew finally makes it over to King Kadan's castle, Goku's looking at it, he's like, whoa, this is it? This is the castle? And Panji's like, it's Panji, by the way. They don't say, it's not Pansy, it's Panji. But I'm sure the English is probably gonna call her Pansy just for the sake of the spelling, but it's Panji. Anyway, they get to the castle and Goku's like, this is it? This is the castle? And they're like, yeah, you know what? In terms of, Demon World, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I don't know why you're hating. And so it's funny because Panji got really like bothered by it. It's like, how dare you say the castle looks like that? That's just rude. So they're walking up to the castle. Oh, wait. Before I continue, let's switch over to Goma. We do get a quick tidbit with Goma, and we are shown Dende over at Goma's castle, and he's being read a book by a caretaker, and Goma tells the caretaker, hey, you need to read better, be more enthusiastic, be more fun with it, be lively with it. We got to take care of we got to take care of this little Namekian, because he's going to make more Dragon Balls for us. So Goma wants to basically butter up Dende, because since Dende got shrunk down to be a baby, he wants to butter Dende up so that Dende will make him another set of Dragon Balls. Now, we've never seen in the world of Dragon Ball, period, any Namekian make more than one set of Dragon Balls. So, either that's going to become a massive shock to Goma when he tries to make it happen and Dende maybe finally grows up or whatever, and he reveals like, yo, I can't do that. We can only make one set at a time, or maybe they'll reveal this new technique that maybe they can the older they get. I doubt it. It's probably just going to be like Dende's going to reveal and Goma's going to learn that Namekians can only make one set of Dragon Balls at the time. So Goma's plan's not going to work. So he'll probably end up having to be like, well, then we'll just steal the Earth Dragon Balls and blah, blah, blah. We'll find that later in the episode. But we know what Goma's plan is with Dende is now. So back over to the crew with Goku and them. So when they arrive up to King Kadan's castle, they walk up in. Glorio's like, yo, it's me. We just saw you guys yesterday. So apparently it hasn't been that long. Like Goma, apparently Glorio left the demon realm, traveled to Earth, got them, traveled back, spent that night, all that was just in a matter of a day. Is it a normal Earth day? Probably not. It's probably like a demon day, so probably a little bit longer in terms of like an hourly spectre. But he's like, I just saw you guys yesterday. You don't remember me? And the gate guard's like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Who are these people with you, though? And Ponzi steps out, and as soon as she steps out, the guards freak out. They're like, Princess, oh my God, you're back. So Ponzi is the princess to the third demon world. Yeah, I don't know if that's been revealed at any point in all the other leaks and stuff that came out, but Panji is the third demon world princess. So King Kadan is her father, which makes the interaction they have a little bit later really funny. So when they get up in the castle and they're looking around the castle, and Goku's like, this is really like what the castles are like and stuff, and they're like, yeah, pretty much. So they meet King Kadan and they're having the conversation with King Kadan. King Kadan did not know that they had been turned into kids. So when he's questioning them, like, Glorio, you said you'd find guys strong enough to beat Majin Buu. These guys are just kids. What are you doing? And that's when Shin speaks up and goes, me, Goku, and our fellow friends were all turned into children by Goma. We're not like, this is not what we actually look like. We're actually adults. We've been shrunk down to kids. And they're like, wow, oh my God, we didn't even know that. And when they're like, but you're still pretty strong. I'm like, yeah, they're very strong. I'm not, Shin's like, I'm not as strong as Goku, but like, we're still all pretty strong. We just only look like this, because of the wish. We're not actual kids. So right after that, I don't even know where King Kadan got this concept, but as soon as Goku is like, yeah, we'll help you out, no problem. We'll fight Goma for you, because King Kadan's like, I want to get rid of Goma so that I can become the ruler of the Supreme Demon King, and so that I can bring peace to the demon realm. Now, is that peace in the actual sense of what peace means? King Kadan does not seem like a bad guy, so I'm gonna go off. I'm just gonna go with the record and say, yeah, King Kadan wants to bring genuine, real peace to the demon realm, and he wants to get rid of King Goma to do it. And so he needs Goku's help. So basically, King Kadan wants to create a full-on uprising and usurp Goma and remove him from the throne. Hey, I'm for it. King Kadan really does seem like a cool dude. He reminds me a little bit of the Ox King. Just a little bit. Because that whole feel with Panji and her father, King Kadan, it really just feels like Chi-Chi and the Ox King, which makes this next thing I'm about to say even funnier. When Goku says, I will help you guys out and everything, King Kadan's like, well, once this is all said and done, you can marry my daughter Panji. And Panji's like, oh my god, are you insane? No, I'm not doing that. And Panji's like, and she's saying all this stuff to him. She's like, you don't get to make that call. I make that call. I will decide who I want to marry and everything. And Goku's like, that's sweet and all. I'm married though. I'm married with kids. And they're like, what? You're an actual adult? You're an adult. And he's like, yeah, like Shin said, we were made into kids from the wish. We're not actually we're full-fledged adults. We just look like this. So they were just flabbergasted to find the truth out with Goku being married, got kids. They're, not actually kids. Because, I'm sorry, I flipped it up. When Goku tells him, that's when Shin reveals that they were turned into kids because of the wish. But I guess it never really dawned on them beforehand, because they just like, yeah, they're kids. Okay, I mean, they're strong, but they're just kids. But when Goku revealed that, I'm married with a wife, with kids, and they're like, oh my god, you're actually adults. And so they found out about the wish that way. I got ahead of myself on that. Now, even though they told him all of this, King Kadan's like, okay, so you're actually adults in kids' bodies, but how strong are you really? Are you really this strong? Are you really strong enough to beat Majin Buu? Even though you say you're an adult shrunk to a kid, can you really do it? So King Kadan gets all his warriors out in the courtyard to come together to fight Goku. And Goku's like, all right, this will be good training. None of them hold back. No, King Kadan's like, don't hold back. I'll pay you a raise if you beat him. So let's get into it. This fight scene was really well done. Really looked phenomenal, to say the least. Great animation across the board. Goku even goes Super Saiyan. For a brief moment, Goku goes Super Saiyan. Not that he needed to go Super Saiyan to fight them, but because a bunch of them jumped on him and they're like, grab his arms and legs. So he just powers up to push them off of him. He probably didn't need to, but he was clearly just showing off. In fact, if you watch that fight, Goku absolutely was pretty much just showing off the fact that he went Super Saiyan. And he doesn't even really go Super Saiyan. He goes briefly Super Saiyan, and you'll see it as it's the profile picture. He goes Super Saiyan briefly to push them off, create the aura, and then for the rest of the fight, he's just got a golden aura glow around him, but he's just base form. That was just a cool look. I don't think he just kind of we always say about the false Super Saiyan back from the Lord Slug movie. Again, this is not false Super Saiyan. It was just Goku, kind of tapping in briefly to the Super Saiyan strength, and just, I think it was a cool animation effect of him just having this golden glowing aura. I don't think it means anything. I don't think it's like, oh, Goku can, no. I think he was just doing it for fun. He did briefly power up to Super Saiyan, but again, it was more off to just show off, have a little bit of fun. Goku did not struggle against any of these guys, which was clear as day. Shin's over there smiling. He's like, yeah, I told you guys he's really strong. And the smuggest look on his face. Even Glorio was completely shocked by this. Because again, Glorio hadn't really seen him fight. He saw him fight last week's episode. But to really see him throw down like this, he was really impressed. So they were all shocked. They get their ship. They go to fly off and everything. And while they're loading up the ship, they tell King Kadan about, hey, can you help us out, bring some more of our friends over? Because King Kadan says they have to rewrite the ship so that they can use the ship to go to Demon World 2, because they cannot use the code they originally had. They needed a new code to get into the next world. The code they had was going to get them into Demon World 2 or Demon World 3. They needed a new one to get into Demon World 2. That was a new thing that Shin didn't know. I figured as much since the moment we were introduced to this concept. So I guess I can say I was right on that. I assumed they would need a different code every time you can't leave Demon World 3, go to Demon World 2, and then go from Demon World 2 to Demon World 1 with the same code. I figured that much, and this kind of confirmed it. They needed a new code. So when Shin says, can you help us get our friends over here? They don't know the code to even get into Demon World 3. which again, I'm assuming it's probably going to change throughout the time. It won't be the same every single time. Kadan grabs his, not grabs, oh my god, I'm sorry, employs the help of this character named Hibis, little squid penguin looking thing, I'm just say that. This little thing on set, he's over there dancing, doing ballet, and Kadan's like, what are you doing? He goes, I was doing ballet. And he's like, oh my god. Hey, I need you. What are you doing? Where were you about to go to? He's like, well, I was about to go get a haircut. He goes, that can wait. Seriously. And this is that fun, goofy, quirky Toriyama humor right there. A really goofy character just dancing around doing ballet, and then they asked him, what are you about to go do? He's like, I'm gonna go get a haircut. And he has a single strand of hair. I mean, like, that's Toriyama humor at his best. But Kadan's like, no, you're not going to go to haircut. You can put that off. You can wait. You're going to go get these guys' friends. And so they tell him where. He has this little device, and he's able to pull up the whole. He's able to pull like literally into Universe 7. And Shin even says it. You know, you got to go to planet Earth in Universe 7. So that right there would technically be the first time they actually reference Universe 7 prior to the whole Battle of Gods concept, which is even funnier if you think about it. Shin references this, and then Goku doesn't know anything about multiple universes or even his own universe being named this until Beerus and Whis tell him. But at the same time, I'm not even remotely shocked. It's Goku. He probably wasn't even listening or even remotely paying attention. So nobody take that too harshly. Goku wasn't paying attention. And Shin wasn't even talking to Goku. He was talking to Hibis. So Hibis finds it on the device. Goku's like, yep, that's the little place, the little lookout right there. You got to go there. So Hibis will probably, next episode will probably be a little bit of Goku and Vegeta. Be a little bit of Goku and Glorio and Shin. And then we'll probably finally see some stuff with Vegeta, Piccolo, and Hibis coming to get them, etc., etc., etc. As they're loading up, Shin tells Goku, hey, I still don't trust Glorio all the way. I feel like he's hiding a little bit from us. The way Kadan spoke and didn't realize certain things about us. I think Shin, and then apparently Glorio wasn't hired by King Kadan. Glorio went to King Kadan and says, I can get you really strong fighters to take out Goma. So Glorio kind of lied about his whole reasoning for being there. Sort of. You know, and Goku's like, yeah, I mean, okay. I feel you. But things are okay right now. So Goku's again just doing the whole go with the flow thing. They get in the ship, they fly off. It crashes because Panji's left with them, and she's overloaded the ship, and it crashes down, and that's how the episode ends. So again, a lot more in this episode was filled with fun humor, just a wild ride, taking the time with, you know, really involving this adventure aspect of it. Finally got to meet King Kadan. We got to meet a couple of different characters. Got some good fight scenes. This episode was just one of those Dragon Ball episodes, as I always like to say. It was just a really fun episode. Is it perfect? I don't know if I'd ever say any of these episodes are truly perfect. Was it fun though? Absolutely. It was a fun ride. I'm having a good time. I had a good time with this episode, just like last week's episode, but I'm looking forward to plenty of these episodes where it's like, hey, we're not really going to dump much lore. We're not going to dump much of anything. We're just going to have a fun time while having an adventure in this episode. And I'm already looking forward to several of these episodes being this way. I'm all for it. So I had a good time with this episode. I think a lot of you will too. If you love the classic Dragon Ball stuff, got to meet a couple interesting characters. No, again, like I said, no real lore, but you finally got to meet King Kadan. You finally got to meet Panji, figure out their whole situation, why they wanted everybody. So the whole truth of why Goku and them got pulled into everything outside of the Goma issue has finally been revealed. Next week's episode is titled Lightning. I'm sorry. Next week's episode is labeled Lightning. Have no idea what that's supposed to imply. Probably something with lightning. I'm just gonna put probably something with lightning. But anyway, I've had a great time with this episode. This was a really good episode, just a really good, fun, solid episode. Nothing too crazy, nothing too lore expansive. I think you have a good time with it. But if you didn't, hey, if you make it back to this review and you didn't like the episode, let me know. If you did like the episode, let me know. But that's been my review of episode 5. Till next time, everybody. See ya.